is Tiffany, and this is my channel, Hoosier Handmade. Thank you so much for stopping by today. In today's video, we have month 2 of my stash challenge updates. So if that sounds interesting to you, stick around. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please consider subscribing if you have not done so already. I would love to welcome you into this community. And thank you to each one of my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in again today. It means so very much to me that you keep showing up video after video and supporting me and supporting my channel, and I really do appreciate your friendship so very much. Thank you guys. Thank you. Give this video a thumbs up if you like this kind of content, and leave a comment down below. I would love to chat with you on this subject that we're back onto again today. So I made a month 1 update video. It's been about a month ago, so I'm gonna link to that up above, and then I will put it down in the description box. And that video got a lot more attention than my original thoughts. So I guess this is kind of a hot topic right now in the sewing community, and I did indeed share some honest to goodness numbers with y'all, bared my heart a little bit, was totally transparent on what kind of stash I actually have here in the Hoosier Handmade Sewing Room. And yeah, I got a lot of response from that. So I really hope that no one has taken this video series the wrong way. I am not here to pressure anyone or browbeat anyone about the size of their stash or lack of a stash. That is not the intention of these videos. These videos are meant to be an encouragement to myself, motivation. It really does motivate me to share my heart with you guys and kind of put it out there into the open and kind of acknowledge that I have goals and I'm trying to reach those goals, and I thought maybe it would help somebody out there in the sewing community as well. So again, please do not take these videos as me preaching to anyone that they need to sew their stash and never buy another piece of fabric again. That is not the case, and I hope to never be that way myself. I hope to one day buy fabric again. But I do have a couple challenges that I am trying to focus on in my sewing room here this year. So in January, as most of us did, I set some goals for myself, and one of those goals was to legit take a look at my stash, patterns, and fabric, and to really focus in on using only stash fabric and stash patterns. So that was a big goal for myself. And then Angela from Just Me and My Fabric started a wonderful hashtag. It is hashtag Stash Sewdown 2023 in an effort to help her sew her stash. So I asked her if I could jump on board with her hashtag as well, and she very kindly shared that with me. So I have been really focusing in on using my stash. So I had the Stash Sewdown challenge that I was trying to do, and then my hubby also came to me with a challenge just to motivate me to actually use my fabric and my patterns. So he challenged me to go for 3 months without buying any fabric and any kind of garment patterns. And I took his challenge. Now, I would not have taken his challenge if I did not completely agree with him that there are gorgeous fabrics in this sewing room, and I have bought them with the intention to make certain things, and they just never got done because I was always finding new flashy fabric patterns that were, you know, getting in the way from me sewing with my stash fabrics. So I took his challenge, and we are on month 2 of that challenge, and I can report today that I have not bought any fabric and any garment, that kind of garment pattern, since January 14th. So it is now March, let's see, you guys are going to see this on the 14th. Yeah, this 14th, so exactly 2 months today, I have not bought any fabric or any patterns. So I'm really quite proud of my progress, and it is getting easier. So in today's video, I would like to update my numbers. Last month, I gave you some hard numbers as to fabric and patterns in my stash, and this week I would love to update you on those numbers and see what progress I've done. Progress is good, progress is motivating. Write it down. If you're in the same boat with me, if you're trying to use your stash, if you're trying to try to make some headway on getting some things accomplished in your sewing room, write it down. Make a brag sheet, make a list, brag on yourself for your accomplishments. It helps me so much to be able to mark down 2 yards for this project, or 5 yards for this project, or, you know, keep a running total. It really does help and really motivates you. If you can see the progress happening, it motivates you to keep going. So let's just run through some numbers here. Again, you guys, this is not to hurt anyone's feelings. This is not, certainly not to brag about how big my stash is, or even how much I was able to sew up in these 2 months. I'm just doing this for accountability and to put my actual totals out there into the internet world, and so that I can be motivated to keep going. It really is a motivation to keep going. Let's talk about February's progress. So in February, I made 8 garments, or one of them was a hair wrap, so it's not technically a garment. If you want to see what all that I made in the month of February, I will link that down below for you. I made a whole video on my February makes, but I made 8 garments, and out of those 8, I used 15 3/4 yards. So 15 3/4 yards came out of those 8 projects, and that takes me up to a total for the year using yardage from my stash. So this is the total amount, 31 3/4 yards from my stash. So in 2 months, I have been able to kick out 31, almost 32 yards of fabric. So I'm gonna pat myself on the back for that one. I was so excited to see that big number. It's a big number to me. So no fabric is coming in. It's all getting processed and made. And yeah, I was just really happy with February's progress. So let's look at what February's progress did for my stash. What impacts did it have on my stash? So I roll my fabric up onto what I call bolts. They are comic book boards, and that's, in my mind, they are bolts of fabric, not like a Joann's bolt, but it's a bolt to me. And last month, I reported that I had 353 bolts of fabric in my little sewing room. So after sewing up all of February's makes, I was able to eliminate 7 bolts of fabric. So I freed up 7 comic book boards, and that took me to 346 bolts of fabric now. So 300 is a big number, I understand that, but slowly chipping away, slowly making progress makes me super happy. So now let's look at yardage. My yardage is going to vary bolt to bolt. I did not buy the same amount of yardage every single time, so every bolt is going to be a little bit different. So last month I reported that I had 696 yards across those 353 bolts, and this month I have used 15 3/4 yards, so that takes me down to 680.25 yards. So 604 yards that I have here in my stash. So again, a very large amount of fabric. I'm not trying to look at it as a whole like that. If I did, I would get super discouraged that I'm never gonna make it through 600 yards of fabric, but I've made progress, and making progress is what is motivating. So looking at patterns last month, I think I didn't write my total down. I think it was like 480 patterns total in my stash, but I really want to focus in on these monthly updates, how many new patterns I have tried out of my stash. I have some tried and true that I keep making over and over again, so I'm gonna kind of ignore those a little bit and kind of focus in on the ones that I have tried that are new, that I have never before attempted. So the new patterns that I have tried in the month of February was a total of 5. So that is 1 big 4, big 5 pattern that I tried and 4 new indie patterns. So I think that was pretty good. Over the 8 makes that I made in February, 5 of them were brand new patterns that I had not tried. So again, all from my stash, just chipping away at those large numbers of unused, untried patterns, and that makes me really motivated to keep going. So those are the cold hard numbers from the Hoosier Handmade Stash. Just being completely open and honest with you guys. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Looking at your stash, knowing numbers, it's just a number, right? It really does not mean that much. And it is motivating to know what you have and to be able to see progress through using actual numbers. If I didn't know where I started, I would not know that 31 yards, almost 32 yards, is making any progress. So I'm really glad that I know my stash. I know what I have in here. I'm honest with myself. I'm open with myself, and it really is motivating to keep going. So those were the numbers. So last month I gave a few tips and tricks that I had encountered that was helping me along in my endeavor to sew my stash, and you all had so many amazing ideas down in the comments. I had so many wonderful comments on last month's video. They were so encouraging and y'all were so sweet. I so appreciate that. It really fed my soul. It was so wonderful to read all your comments, and so many of you gave me ideas for how you attack your stash. What kind of tips and tricks do you use when you try to sew your stash? So I'm going to share some of those today. If you have some and you have not shared them with me, please put them down in the comments in this video and I will share them in the next video. This is a community. I so appreciate the sewing community. Let's help each other. Let's cheer each other on. This is not about dragging anybody down or making anybody feel weird for the size of their stash or not, if you don't have a stash at all. So let's just be an encouragement to each other and be a friend. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to share some of those suggestions with us. I'm only going to use first names, hopefully to avoid encroaching on anyone's privacy. So let me know down in the comments if you have any suggestions. So the first one that I have is from Roi-Lynn. Please forgive me if I pronounce anyone's name wrong, and forgive me for looking down because I want to get their comment correct. So she says, browse Instagram for inspiration of patterns I already own. That is such a great idea. So I know what patterns I have. I can take that number or that name, if it's an indie pattern, and go onto Instagram and just look it up, look up the hashtag for that pattern and see what other people have made. Real people and real garments really does give motivation. It really helps to see an actual person, not a model, wearing some garments sometimes. Deborah says, cut back on watching haul videos and unboxing videos. Now, I'm not going to tell you to stop watching people's videos. Even as a YouTuber, I so appreciate it when people tune in to my videos. So I'm not telling you to stop watching those, but if you are tempted by that kind of a thing, maybe it's a good idea to rein in how many you watch or what time of the day you watch it. If you're laying in bed late at night and you're watching an unboxing and you're bored, you might be tempted to get online and see what that fabric company had. Just a thought. So no, I'm not telling you to stop watching anything, but be smart. One of the biggest things that's helped me out was to stay out of places of temptation. So stay out of, I have not set foot in a Joann's. I have stayed out of the fabric aisle at Walmart. I have not went to Hobby Lobby. So I have tried to stay away from those places that I know I am actually tempted. And I think Deborah has a really good point that if those things trigger you, maybe stay away from them. Lori says to get inspiration from ready to wear and copy them with stash fabrics. That is such a good idea, and I have actually done that this month. I did a whole video on it actually. I saw a beautiful dress in a ad on Instagram and I wanted to recreate that. So I had some stash fabric and I was able to recreate that look. Ready to wear, there's nothing wrong with looking, right? We love to look at all those beautiful garments out there, gain inspiration. Go to your favorite department store, go to Kohl's, go to Macy's, Dillard's, wherever you like to go and get some inspiration. Take some pictures of that garment and bring them back to your sewing room and your stash. Cathy says to plan seasonal wardrobes for yourself or your children with stash fabrics. Most of us have winter fabrics and then summer, spring, summer fabrics. You could totally plan a whole cohesive wardrobe for yourself or your children from your stash. She is completely right. I could do probably 10 capsule wardrobes from just my stash myself. So that is really a fun idea. I love that. Izzy, this is a great one. Izzy says to allow yourself to buy a needed piece of fabric to scratch the itch. She is so right. So she's saying to allow yourself a needed piece of fabric. I'm going to add on there, she has the right frame of mind. I'm going to add on there a notion or something small for sewing. That really helped me this month. I went to a quilt show and I bought a new rotary cutter and some accessories for a pattern I already have to make a bag pattern, and that scratched the itch for me. That really helped me feel like I was feeding my sewing hobby but not accumulating any more fabric or patterns. Izzy says to buy a needed piece of fabric, and that's awesome too. You know you're going to use it. You're using it right now in a project. You need that and you're going to bring it into your sewing room, automatically sew it up and then kick it out. And then Lynn had the best idea. She is a genius. This is called a wild card project. Y'all, I want to do this. I need to do this. It sounds so much fun. I could probably do a whole video about it. It just sounds so much fun. So the wild card project is to pick a fabric from the bottom of your pile, something that's kind of been pushed back and then pushed back again and pushed back again. Either make something with it as soon as you pull it out and put it on your table, or move it on. Donate it, give it to a friend, swap or something. Do not put it back in the stack. That is such a good idea. I love that idea. I know that in the shuffling of my stash, I have pushed some fabric to the back, and then to the back again, and then to the back again. So I just keep looking at it and keep pushing it away. So it would be so much fun to take one of those out and then just make a decision. Let's make something with it, or let's move it on. Let's not put it back in the stash. So y'all, thank you so much to every one of those wonderful individuals who have given me suggestions down in the comments. I love reading your suggestions. Most of you all have been sewing for a very long time, and I glean so much from your knowledge, and it means so very much to me. So that is month 2 update of my 3-month challenge. Hubby's challenge, it's looking like he's gonna pay out. Can I make it another month? I hope so. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. Give this video a thumbs up if you like this kind of content, and comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for your friendship. I will see y'all in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.